I will call the Tuesday, February 25th regular council meeting to order and begin with a land acknowledgement that the City of Fort Saskatchewan is located on Treaty 6 territory in Métis Nation of Alberta, District 11. We recognize that we stand upon the land that carries the footsteps of many Indigenous peoples, including the Nihilwak, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Métis. The city honors the First Peoples of this land and is committed to fostering reconciliation through relationship building, knowledge gathering, and education. And I think I know everybody who's in here, but if there's anybody that doesn't know, in case of an emergency, the exit doors are there. And if an alarm should sound, really just follow our staff out and they will get you to the muster point safe. So with that, we will begin with the agenda. And the first item is approval of the minutes of February 11th, 2025. Councillor Nguyen.
Yeah, I'll move that council approve the minutes of February 11th, 2025, regular council meeting.
Thank you. Are there any errors or omissions? Not hearing any. I will close the motion. Please cast your vote. And that is carried unanimously. So I will ask if there's anybody who wishes to speak to any of the items that are on the agenda that aren't going to have a public hearing. So that would be the siren system. And not seeing anybody racing up to the presentation box. We will continue on and go on with unfinished business. The city siren system, Quinn Gillard. And our fire chief, Martins.
All right. Good afternoon, Your Worship, members of council. My name is Quinn Gillard, Deputy Chief of Emergency Management. With me today is Fire Chief Todd Martins, Director of Emergency Management. We're here to talk to you today about a topic that we brought forth before the council in October 2024 about the city's public emergency system. So on October 15, 2024, Council was presented with an information report detailing the concerns of the city's existing mass public emergency warning system and in place since 1981. The concerns included that the information that the system is not only nearing the end of its expected service life, but has been showing signs of ongoing operational failures, resulting in a lack of reliability. The concern is augmented by the significant growth the city has experienced since the last upgrade in 2011, and where both the city boundaries and population have expanded beyond the functional capabilities of the existing system. At that time, we presented the council with about 6 options at that time. So some of those options included the complete removal of the system itself for a total of roughly $25,000 to take down all of the posts that exist, the siren heads themselves, and remove all the infrastructure that goes along with them. Also at that time, we discussed minimal siren updates that would bring us to a minimal service capability to reach the community as it stands at this time without future expected growth, and that would be seeing roughly $90,000 plus annual upkeeps. We also discussed things like full siren replacement, which would see an expansion of the existing system to have growth for potential into future years at a cost of over $540,000 to include the annual upkeep as well. We also hit on ideas such as the automated landlines, where a phone line gets called automatically during an emergency to pass along information. That itself was relatively low key at $10,000, but also minimal effect as well too, given the amount of people that have landlines these days. We talked about electronic signboards as an option. Electronic signboards could be anywhere from 1 to 5 signboards placed around the community to pass along both visual and written messages to communicate to those people that would be in visible distance of the actual signs themselves. And finally, option 6, which was a combination of the systems themselves going forward. Our recommendation is simply to discontinue the existing moving siren system with no further development of outdoor public warning system, however. The city has mitigated the risk that's there by utilizing the Alberta Emergency Alert System, which, as mentioned before, reaches roughly 96% of the Albertans, because that's how many people approximately have cell phones, smartphones, and other tablet devices in the province. But it also reaches out to all people that are in front of a television and have radio systems as well too, as these automatically interrupt broadcast sessions. So whether they're getting their hair cut at a local establishment or they're in a restaurant or anything else in front of a television, that message goes to those people that may have their phones turned off out of courtesy or politeness to others that may be around them. So it is a backup system itself.
Okay,
And that is
thank
all.
you for the presentation. We'll go to questions first. Councillor Harris?
I don't have any questions. I'd be prepared to put the motion on the table at the time.
Okay, I'll come back to you in just a second then. I'll just see if there's any other questions. Councillor Blizzard?
Yeah, just one. Good information on here. And I noticed in one that one of the posts at Henderson Park is being used for a couple of other things. Is it not possible to leave that one?
Through your worship to Council President, yes, that one would actually remain. From the time that we presented the information in October of last year, that post has been put into a dual purpose at the time being, and that one would actually remain. But the siren itself on the top of the head would come off.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nguyen?
Yeah, just curious on, I guess, people that don't have cell phones or who don't have cell phones and contacting them via landline. I guess I would include businesses as well, and I think probably most of them have landlines for internet, fax, whatever else. How do we, I guess, how do we have access to that information of our local directory? How do we know everybody's landline number in Fort Saskatchewan?
Through your worship to Councillor Nguyen, people would have to subscribe to a service like that for automated landline calls, no different than we're asking people to subscribe to things like Fort Sask alerts. So they'd have to come on board, they'd have to actually identify the phone number they want these to go to as a landline itself, or there may be other venues through the Chamber of Commerce for businesses themselves.
Right, yeah, and that's what I figured. So that, yeah, it's not a system akin to the Alberta Emergency Alerts where we can just spam it out to every cell phone in the vicinity that is pinging to the towers.
Through your worship to Councillor Nguyen, the difference between Alberta Emergency Alert is it actually reaches everybody within the cell phone tower distance itself, whether they're signed up for something or not. Everyone automatically receives Alberta Emergency Alerts. Fort Sask Alert, on the other hand, our own system that is used through Everbridge is a subscription service. People have to sign up for those, and automated landline calls would be no different than that.
Okay, thanhanks. And then just lastly, we discussed in the committee of the whole meeting about the Fort Sask Waste app, because I didn't see any recommendations or integration of using that app with the alternative that's suggested. So was there any further insight into possibility of doing that?
Through your worship to Councillor Nguyen, if we have to, that's something that we absolutely will do, is to go that route. I'd like to speak with other departments and see how we can better utilize that. That's a discussion at another day as a backup plan for us. But it is something that we know we have the capability to do, and it's something that if we have to, we will absolutely utilize that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Batoye?
Good afternoon, and thank you for your presentation. I absolutely agree with your recommendations. But my question is about the Alberta Emergency Alert System. And by all means, if you don't have the information, you can just let me know. Has there ever been failure in that process? Like maybe they're trying to send out notification and there's an issue with technology, as technology sometimes disappoints. Has there ever been an issue like that? And if so, how was it handled? And is there some sort of backup system for that system?
Through your worship to Councillor Batoye, honestly, I don't know that information at this point in time, but that could be researched to see what not only if the failures have existed, but what the backup plan was to that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much for everything.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back to Councillor Harris for the motion. Just push your button. Okay, go ahead.
I'm pleased to move that Council direct administration to proceed with the removal of the existing outdoor emergency public warning system by the end of Q4 2025 at an estimated cost of $25,000 to be funded from the Fire Equipment Life Cycle Reserve.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Well, yeah, I think it's timely to obviously make a move. Technology has evolved, and the technology that was in place at the time is no longer pertinent. If the siren goes off, people are standing around wondering what the heck's going on. I don't think it serves any purpose. Its time has come and gone, and it's time to move on, and this is probably the most cost-effective way to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up for discussion and debate. Councillor Macon.
Thank you. I'll support the motion. I think what we have now is much outdated technology, and I believe that even if it was working 100%, nobody knows what to do when those sirens go off. At least with Fort Sask alerts or the provincial alert system, it provides notification, but it also provides that much needed direction. So I'm happy to support this.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Noyen.
Yeah, I support the comments so far on the recommendation of yours. I'm just curious, the $25,000 coming out of the reserve, is there a contractor going to be doing this? And I would assume so, but is that where the cost is incurred?
Through your worship to Councillor Noyen, it would be a vendor that would be doing that. We haven't selected one, but we have received some quotes.
Right, okay, that's what I figured, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And I'll support the motion as well. Technology has come a long way, and I know I mentioned it the last time you presented when we were at what was it, Alberta Municipalities down in Red Deer. We were sitting in the room, and there's about 1,000 people in there, and there was an alert that went off, and every phone was ringing in there. It was just incredible. So, I've heard good stories that with that and having it on TV, if there is a problem, people will actually reach out even from other municipalities if they've got a senior that they think maybe hasn't heard. So I think it's really working well. So I fully support it is time to move this along. So thank you for your recommendation. Councillor Kelly?
Yes, and thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I just want to zip back to the last question from Councillor Noyen and the response. Why would we use a contracted service to remove a speaker off the top of a pole? I believe the city has a boom and or lift trucks, and in other words, the equipment to do such an activity. So why would we not do it in-house?
Your worship, through to Councillor Kelly. So we did look at that as an option, and it still could possibly be an option. It would just depend on the time and the capacity of our internal staff. But we wanted to bring a complete report to council with going with a contractor, so we could absolutely complete the work in 2025.
So the driving factor then is getting it done within an 11-month period or 10-month period, as opposed to the cost? I'm still not clear. It seems to me to be a pretty simple task, and that's why I wonder why we don't do it in-house.
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, that could be investigated. I know that for the purposes of the last time it was dealt with, vendors had actually done part of the install itself. I think there was a crane involved with actually lifting the actual head itself because it's fairly weighty. But I think the post installation may have been done by our Public Works Services.
So to summarize, you guys will continue to investigate the most efficient and effective way to get that equipment off the top of the post.
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, we absolutely can if that's the council's wish.
Do you need a motion for that to be council's wish?
Mr. Fleming?
Through your worship, I'd just say yes, we will continue to investigate the most efficient and effective way to do it.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Harris on close.
There's nothing more that needs to be said. I have complete faith that our administration will ensure that these are removed, and it includes the post removal too, right?
Through your worship to Councillor Harris, that is correct. Post removal with the exception of the one that's in use by other departments.
Exactly. So I'm sure you guys will do it.
And the supporting utilities that are there as well too.
Exactly. So let's get it done.
Okay, thank you. The motion is now closed. Please cast your vote. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, we will move on. We have two bylaws for first reading. We'll do the first one. Bylaw C1-25 to amend land use bylaw C2320 to redistrict lands in Forest Ridge, first reading. Taryn Samara presenting and Cherie Cindy.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, members of council. My name is Terrence Samra, planner here with the city, here to present a brief summary of bylaw C1-25 to amend the land use bylaw to redistrict lands and include a new special district in Forest Ridge. For the outline of the presentation, we'll start with a brief overview of the location. Then we'll move into the proposed development, like what type of development would be expected with the amendment. Then we'll follow up with information about the areas that are being redistricted to FR-SDH, RC, and FRSO. After, we'll talk about the FR-SDH as a special district, followed by information about the outline plan and administration support. And then last, we'll discuss the public hearing communication process before getting into questions. So let's get into the locational overview. The site is located within the undeveloped portion of the Forest Ridge neighborhood. It's east of West Park Drive, north of the residential development along Woodhill Lane, west of the residential development along Willow Link, and south of the residential development along Ficus Way. The neighborhood consists primarily of low-density residential development. A future school site is located to the east of the subject area and includes a playground structure. A medium-density site within the neighborhood A medium-density site with the neighborhood service node is planned immediately to the west of the subject area along West Park Drive. The proposed development is well connected to the surrounding neighborhoods through West Park Drive, a collector road. Willow Link and Willow Link and Woodbridge Link are also in close proximity. These roads provide excellent connectivity for vehicles. Point and Pins Trail, along with other multi-use trails within the surrounding road network, provide excellent connectivity for active transportation users. Next, we'll talk about the proposed development. In October of 2024, Davis Consulting Group, on behalf of West Park Land Company, approached administration regarding their next development stage in Forest Ridge. Oh, sorry, forgot to give a click there. They are proposing a mix of different housing types, beginning with semi-detached and townhouses on compact lots. An example of the compact townhouses can be seen on the screen. The characteristics that make the semi-detached and townhouses compact is the additional building height, reduced site depth, reduced site widths, and the reduced minimum parking requirement for two-story developments. The semi-detached and townhouses would be accessed by a lane and accommodate rear-attached or rear-detached garages. Another dwelling type is the single detached on narrow lots. The characteristics that make the single detached dwellings on narrow products is the reduced site width to accommodate an 18-foot building pocket. And the last housing type is a standard-sized single detached dwellings on conventional lots. To accommodate this proposed development, the standard-sized single-detached will be on conventional lots, which will be developed by the RC District. The RC District is a standard district within the land use bylaw and commonly used for single-detached, semi-detached dwellings, and townhouses within Fort Saskatchewan. The semi-detached and townhouses on compact lots will be developed by the FRSO district, which is a special district that was approved by council last year. The FRSO district can only be replicated in Forest Ridge and nowhere else. The last district that will be used is a new special district, which is the FR-SDH, Forest Ridge Single Detached Housing District. This is the old DCA 18 district that has been modified. The purpose remains the same, which is to accommodate street-oriented single-detached dwellings. However, some changes were made to accommodate an 18-foot building pocket, and we'll discuss more about this conversion of the DCA 18 to the FRSDH later on in the presentation. Looking at a redistricting overview, I've highlighted the areas that will be redistricted. In purple, those are the areas that will be redistricted to RC. As mentioned, this is to accommodate those conventional single detached dwellings. Approximately 2.1 hectares of land will be redistricted to RC. The area in yellow is approximately 1.2 hectares, and it's for semi-attached and 3-story townhouses on compact lots, which will be redistricted to FRSO. And the area in white is the area to be redistricted to this new special district, FRSDH, and that area is approximately 1.8 hectares. I do want to bring your attention to that the FRSDH district is replacing that DCA 18 district, so all existing DCA 18 areas would become the FRSDH. And I've shown that area in light blue, and that's approximately 1.8 hectares. The remaining undeveloped areas will be classified as urban reserve until an appropriate district for development is required. Now I want to speak about this new district, the FRSDH. Originally, like I said before, it's the old DCA, or it is the DCA 18 district. However, this direct control will be converted to a special district, and the special district will only apply in Forest Ridge. The purpose of the changes I kind of mentioned before is to accommodate that 18-foot building pocket. The DCA 18, its minimum site width that it had would accommodate a 20-foot building pocket. So in essence, it's providing a different type of housing size within the neighborhood. I have included the chart here that, like, I want to point out some key changes as this is, or as like I want to, or sorry, the main one of the main changes is that site width. As you can see on the screen, it under the DCA 18 column it says 8.5, and in the column to the right it does say FRSDH is 7.9. So that change was made to accommodate that 18-foot building pocket. The other changes were made to accommodate this new housing style. So I do want to speak to why we're changing from direct control to special district. You'll typically want to use a direct control when there's some sort of unique conditions or constraints that will make using a standard district impractical or impossible. A couple examples are, for example, say you have an irregularly shaped parcel, or like you have a parcel adjacent to the river. Both these types of parcels you can say have some sort of unique constraint or condition. So it might be difficult to use a standard district from the land use file. By applying a direct control, you can shape those district regulations to ensure that that proposed development that you're planning would occur on those parcels and minimize perhaps any impacts to the adjacent or surrounding areas. A special district is similar to a direct control, as you do create like control for a specific use or area. As mentioned, the FRSDH is going to be used specifically in Forest Ridge. However, the reason to switch to the special district is this development area in Forest Ridge, it lacks that exceptional circumstance or maybe constraint that warranted those heightened regulations. Therefore, using a special district would be considered more appropriate as the tool for accommodating this new development or site-specific designs without the additional implications of a direct control. Next, we'll get into the outline plan amendments. An outline plan's purpose is to articulate the finer grain details such as block configuration, road, and lane locations. As for reference, I've included the proposed outline plan map on the screen. The areas that are hatched are designated areas for the FRSO product that may be developed. However, any time housing product for the FRSO is proposed, it must be shown on the outline plan. The purpose of the application is to add more FRSO product, which is 3-story townhouses and semi-attached product, and I've circled those in black on the screen. Please note that the existing FRSO product, which is to the east, and that's circled in purple, is 3-story and 2-story, and that was approved by council last year. If a developer decides to develop more FRSO product, an amendment to the outline plan is required, as it must be shown on the block level where like the location of the housing product. Please note, outline plan amendments are decided by council resolution rather than by bylaw, and this amendment will be brought forward to council decision prior to second and third reading of bylaw C1-25. Next, I want to speak about conformance of the city's planning documents. Does the purpose of the amendments align with the policies of the Municipal Development Plan and West Park Area Structure Plan? The RC, FRSO, and FRSDH districts are creating a neighborhood that contains a mix of different housing types that will meet the broad housing needs of the community. The district provides more than just conventional single detached dwellings. By integrating all these dwelling types, the amendments create a neighborhood that provides a housing diversity and market affordability that accommodates preferences of different lifestyles. However, supporting policy of the West Park Area Structure Plan does require an amendment to the outline plan. The West Park Area Structure Plan policy mentions that any innovative development, such as compact housing, must be identified on the outline plan. And since outline plan amendments require council resolution, we will bring the amendment forward at next council meeting prior to second and third reading of bylaw C1-25. Based on the details of the proposed district, administration supports the amendments applications due to the policies of the Municipal Development Plan and West Park Area Structure Plan. The proposed amendments and special district demonstrates and aligns with the MDP policies through dwelling layout, housing diversity, street-oriented development, and through affordable, inclusive, and housing diversity for all residents. The proposed amendments also align with the West Park Area Structure Plan by providing a variety of lot sizes and housing forms which provide choice for residents in the community and are compatible with the existing and proposed surrounding development. Should council give first reading to the bylaw, public hearing will be advertised in the Fort Saskatchewan Record. Landowners within 100 meters of proposed amendment areas will be mailed a notice. A copy of the proposed bylaw will be available on the city's website, and the target date for the public hearing is March 25th, 2025. And we'd like to answer that concludes my presentation. I'd like to answer any questions that council may have for administration. I do want to note that Mr. Todd Martins, I'm pretty sure, is still here. And if there are any questions regarding, say, fire or anything like that, I'm pretty sure he can step in and answer any inquiry questions.
Okay, I've got Councillor Harris first.
So in the RC zone, typically, I guess in that area, we're seeing two-story construction for the most part because of the width of the lots. They're not big lots, but they're not small lots. Are 2 stories pretty much the norm in that area?
Through your worship to Councillor Harris, yes. So I do have like the redistricting map here, so you can see RC in purple, which is along Elm Street and a little south of the FRSO. Those type of lots you would expect to see to be much larger, 2-story, right? I think according to possible subdivision plans, they would possibly be about, you're looking at 9 to 10 meters, so your conventional lot size is what you would expect there.
Yeah, no, I'm curious about the heights, because if in the RC district we primarily have 2 stories and they're adjacent to an area with potential 3 stories, then there isn't that much potential of an impact between uses.
Through your worship of Councillor Harris, that's correct. The height, like you mentioned, 2.5 stories, 10 meters, I believe. The FRSO, that height is 13 meters for townhouses, yes. So there, yeah, sure, there is a difference of 3 meters, but the transition, it shouldn't be a big impact.
So typically a 2-story house is about 25 feet, more or less?
Through your worship of Councillor Harris, I'm more of a metric man. I don't know what that conversion would be from feet to meters, but typically you could say 2.5 stories could be anywhere to say 8.5 to 10 meters.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. My second question is, so the developer's proposing these 2 small little blocks of RC in that area. Is there going to be a gap, like on your map there where it says UR to FRSO? Are they going to connect the roads straight through to, I guess, what is Maple Lane, so there's a contiguous transportation area there, or is that just going to be a block of houses all by itself?
Through worship to Councillor Harris, so I do have the outline plan here, so as you can see the road layout. So yes, there would be extensions of the roads. I don't have the labels here, but for example, that single RC lot that you're mentioning beside the 3-story, like that road would be extended further.
Yeah, oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's just a normal contiguous
Yes,
development?
contiguous development, that's correct.
Once this rezoning goes through?
Yes, through your worship, Councillor, with the subdivision and everything else that follows with.
Good, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Macon?
Thank you. I'm just wondering if you can clarify why we didn't need an amendment to the outline plan in Forest Ridge when we made the first FRSO last year, but we do now. What's the difference between the two properties?
Through your worship, Councillor Macon, I don't know if I may have misspoke, but amendment was done last year when the FRSO product was done. The three, I've circled in purple the 3-story, 2-story. Last year when the FRSO was special districts was being introduced to council, we actually did make an amendment to the outline plan to show on the outline plan where the 3-story and 2-story was done. I mean, if I misspoke, I apologize, but yeah, we did do an amendment last year.
I misunderstood what we were doing there, but I understand now. So thank you very much. Also, why not bring the amendment before first reading?
Through your worship to Councillor Macon, I'll probably defer to Cherie on the process on that one.
Through your worship to Councillor Macon. So outline plans are approved by council by resolution. So we bring them with second and third reading and public hearing of the redistricting. So we would be able to hear from the public on this amendment itself, and through that process, we get their feedback on the outline plan too, and then council can make the decision on the outline plan and then the second and third reading.
So those all come on the same day?
Yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought what you said was that they were going to be at separate meetings. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blizzard?
It's first reading, so I'll probably go through, but I do seem to always have an issue. Every time we get these, it seems like, we have a new district and let's make it a little narrower, smaller, shorter, all the way around. And so if we approve this FRSDH, is it, next year, are they going to come back with, we'll go 32 meters? Like we already have one where it's slightly bigger in all areas. Why not keep that?
Through your worship to Council Blizzard, I think one of the main reasons is providing a housing mix or a housing diversity. Like the existing FRSDH provides that 20-foot building pocket, so there's a preference for say residents that want that type of housing development. Now we're introducing 18, so it's another I guess style that a resident could have. Right, having this mix, right, it creates a neighborhood that provides a mix of different lifestyles, right? Having all this integration, it's good planning merit for creating neighborhoods, I would say. So that's why I understand. I get your point. Why not just do it from the beginning, or why are you keep introducing different styles? But having this diversity it's a good thing for neighborhoods.
Do you monitor after it's built, like some of our existing ones, any issues that come up? Because, the other thing I see with all this is they can't have a double car garage. I just looked it up. They're normally around 24 feet wide. Even if it's a tighter one, it wouldn't work. I think there's going to be parking issues, though. People still drive. I know we assume that they should take transit. We have it, but people don't.
Through your worship of Council Blizzard, when it comes to parking issues, I think it really depends on, from the city's perspective, when it comes to a development permit where you're issuing a development for an application for a dwelling, they must provide 2 parking stalls, right? How the configuration works, if it's a single with a parking pad or if it's a double car garage, right, with a parking pad up front for more stalls, that must be provided. So. And that's what the city guarantees. But if a resident chooses and it happens where they decide to not use their driveway or their garage, or you decide to park on the street because it's just easier, then I don't know how from the city's perspective you can really enforce that, right? From the city's point of view, we've done what we can is make sure those stalls are there, right? Is how the resident just decides to use them is, I don't think the city can really enforce that at this time,
And
right?
No, sure, sorry.
If I could just add to that, so with the 18-foot narrower single detached housing, we made sure that the rear garage would still be able to accommodate 2 cars. So it can be developed at that minimum 2-car garage size, and that's why we reduced the setback for accessory buildings by 0.1 so that the two-car garage can still be built on those narrower lots.
As long as they don't have pickups.
That
But,
is correct.
and I
Yes.
know you, in your department, I guess you look forward, what are we doing now? But do you look back ever? Does the city, maybe somebody else has that answer, do we ever look back at some of the lots that we've done that are narrower? How, are there issues?
Through your worship to Councillor Blizzard, yes, we do. So I think a few years ago with the zero lot line, we introduced the narrower product, and we had gone through the reviews of that, and we haven't received parking complaints in those areas, not that I have heard of. But we do take a look at that. So when the FRSO comes in place, we will see how it works. And that's another reason why it is a special district and only allowed in this specific area and not everywhere. It's not a standard
Not gonna
district
be a
that
rubber
can be.
stamp.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kelly, questions?
Yes, thank you. Maybe I'm getting confused, my memory's getting confused between the two amendments we have on the agenda today, but it sticks in my mind that for one of them, and perhaps the SO type, that there would be one parking stall per unit. Is that recollection correct?
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, when it comes to, we did add a regulation in the FRSO when it comes to one parking stall. However, that would apply to two-story development only. The three-story and the semi-detached product would still have to provide two stalls. And I've circled in black here what is being proposed by the developer, which is semi-detached and three-story. So there wouldn't be any product that's being brought forward that would have that reduced parking regulation. So there's no two-story development being proposed here.
Okay, that's good news. So if there's no two-story development being proposed,
Sorry, two-story
then why do
townhouses,
these? Okay, thank you. But let's just focus on the parking. If there's no proposal of a development type that does not require a minimum of two stalls per unit, then why are we in our amendments, either this one or the one on the agenda, next on the agenda, accommodating development with one stall per unit? If there are none projected, why even accommodate it?
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, it was in the previous redistricting that we did for FRSO. That's where two-story townhouses were proposed and they were approved. But in this redistricting, those are not proposed, that kind of development. Sorry, does that answer your question?
It does. I struggle with the concept of parking. I'll save my comments for later. Mayor Catcher, I've got other questions. Can I continue, or do you want me to weigh back in?
No, I'll put you back in the queue. Okay. Okay, I'm next on the agenda, or next for speaking. So the question that I will have for second and third reading is I would like to kind of get an indication how sales are going of this type of product. I think that would be a good question to have answered. And then the other one that I have is kind of odd because it doesn't deal with this, but with the road system that they have, I've driven out there and I think it's Foxtail Road. Is it actually intended to go into that subdivision to the south? Because it looks like it should be as a trail as opposed to a road. And I was wondering, is that a temporary road? So maybe the developer can answer that, or maybe do you know that? It goes right between two houses and it looks like it should be a trail, but it's...
Oh, to your worship, are you, I am clicking on the
That's on the other side, I
Oh, it's
think.
on the other side. Are you over here, I'm guessing, along Willow Link and Maple Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, your worship, that road, I do have it in a different map here listed as Maple Lane. So that road will extend to West Park Drive. You can kind of see it here as the as I'm clicking it, it will extend eventually to West Park Drive. Just at this time, there's no further development to extend it though.
Yeah, actually, I think it's Foxtail Road. Go further over.
Right here.
And in between, there's a road that goes into that subdivision that goes right in between two houses. I think it's that one. If you take a drive, I really encourage you to take a drive because it looks like it should be just a pathway. But we have driven down there and I go, wow, somebody's going to hit a house here.
You're referring to, I guess, east. This would be, or sorry, west of the subdivision, so into Windsor Point. Is that the area you're referring to?
I'll show you after because I can't quite see it on here. It comes down West Park Drive and then there's just this little kind of trail system that goes into the Landrex on the right hand side if you're going that way to the south. And so I'd just be curious when when you come back, I'd really like to know about the road systems, especially that.
It will look into
It won't impact my decision but it's something that I've driven by there like 10 times and driven through there and go, that makes no sense. So since everybody's here, I figured I might as well ask. Councillor Nguyen, you're next for questions.
Thanks for the presentation. For the product types that are 2 stories and require 2 parking stalls, I'm wondering what the site coverage would be if every one of these products had a garage as well. I think it's around 53%, if I'm correct, is the site coverage for the principal building. And what I'm trying to relate this to is your interpretation or definition of pedestrian-oriented streetscape and how much basically yard space will be in a 2-story with a two-car garage.
To your worship, Councillor Noyd. So the minimum requirement for the 2 stories is one parking stall only.
Yeah, one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. The 2-story, they'll provide a detached garage compared to the 3-story where you can, if you've driven around Fort Saskatchewan, they're like the ones that you drive into, and then you have, I guess, your living room on the 2nd floor, and then you have the bedrooms up top, right? So the 2 stories, you would expect to see some sort of private amenity area because they do have that detached garage. Obviously, if residents choose to if they want more parking space, they can always push their detached garage further into the yard just to get a bigger parking pad. So that option is always out there. But as I kind of mentioned before, there are the walking trails. There is the playground to the east. So there is common amenity in the adjacent areas that residents can use if they choose not to have that private amenity space.
Right. So for this product type, we're not going to see uniform setbacks for garages from lanes. It'll be discretionary as per the builder and the homeowner, the spec home builder.
Yeah, through your worship, Councilor, that's correct, right? If like I said, as the resident decides they don't want that back here because some don't like to maintain it, they can maybe push the garage further, get more parking space. Maybe some people enjoy that backyard private space. So it really comes down to what the preference of the resident is.
Okay. And then what is the definition of pedestrian-oriented streetscape?
Through your worship, Councillor Noy. So when it comes to that pedestrian-oriented streetscape, you kind of want this integration where you have the private and the public realm integrating with each other. So you would have those setbacks that are right up to the street. You might have your dwellings have that balcony space where you have residents that will be there, but then they can interact with the street. You might have boulevards, you might have sidewalks that are much bigger, right? It's all this interaction that you can get. That what kind of defines this pedestrian street oriented.
Right. So it's essentially encouraging residents to interact with the street where there's parking.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. Councillor Kelly, you're on round 2.
Thank you. Administration referenced that Fire Chief Martins was still in the crowd, and this is a question probably appropriately directed to him. I'd like, if possible, for the fire chief to give council a Reader's Digest 1 minute or so brief description on what IRF standards are for residential development, and then I've got a couple questions around that for perhaps him to answer. Thank you.
He's just on his way, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you.
He has joined us now.
Your worship, through to Councillor Kelly. So currently all the development in this area would be outside of our 10-minute response. So the development here would build to the higher building code, which is in the Alberta Fire Code, not in the fire code actually. So the separation that I'm speaking to would be again the setbacks, as well as the glazing, the soffits, the fascia, all that kind of stuff would be built to that higher building code for everything in this this area, this subdivision, and then we would just capture most of that when they apply through their development permits.
Okay, answered almost my second question. So let me paraphrase if I may. Once the side yard or front back setbacks get smaller than a threshold, different building standards for fire resistance apply to the building's exterior. Is that correct? Essentially correct?
Your worship, through to Councillor Kelly, right now the building requirement requires them to build to the higher standard regardless because they're outside of that 10-minute fire response that we currently have. So
okay. That's really what I was going to drive at, Fire Chief. All development permits for the construction will require, in this particular area, that the exterior meet the HERF requirements, whatever they may be. And I'm not familiar with them other than to know that they exist. You're giving council that assurance.
your worship, through to Councillor Kelly, that is correct.
Perfect. I thank you for your response.
Okay, thank you. That appears to be all the questions. So okay, Councillor Blissard, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that council give first reading to bylaw C1-25 to amend land use bylaw C23-20. Do you want the whole thing read?
No, you can just say
As
as presented.
And further, that a public hearing be scheduled for March 25th, 2025.
Okay.
And in speaking to this, it's first reading. We will have a public hearing, and if there's anyone that would like to comment on this, that's a good time to come.
All right, thank you. It's open for discussion and debate. Not seeing any. Anything on close? Okay, I'm gonna close the motion. Please cast your vote for first reading. That is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And we will proceed with bylaw C2-25. Okay, we're changing people here. Scott Perch. Did I say it right? Okay. You are new at the table.
I am, yes. This is my first time.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, Your Worship and members of council. So my name is Scott Perich. I'm a planner with the city, and I'll be presenting a brief summary of bylaw C2-25 to amend the land use bylaw in order to introduce a new special district and to redistrict some lands within the Sienna community. So a quick outline of the presentation. I'll start with a brief overview of the location, what the proposed amendment entails, information about the areas that are being redistricted, the new proposed special district, and amendments to the corresponding outline plan. Then we'll discuss administration support, and finally we'll talk about the public hearing and communication process. So to begin, on October 3rd of 2024, Davis Consulting, on behalf of Fort Saskatchewan Development, applied to amend the land use bylaw to introduce a new special district and to redistrict lands. So the amendment area is located within the Sienna community, north of Sienna Boulevard, west of Range Road 224, south of 87th Ave, and just east of Sequoia Bend. So this amendment proposes the introduction of a new special district called Sienna Single Detached Housing District, or SSDH for short. The SSDH district will replace the existing DCA 19 Direct Control Sienna Residential District. The applicant is proposing this unique special district in order to allow for smaller single detached lots, especially specifically in order to accommodate 18-foot building pockets for detached homes. So we'll get into the details of the specific changes in later slides. In addition to the introduction of the new SSDH district, this proposed amendment will redistrict the lands to the new SSDH district and to the existing RC comprehensively planned district. So the RC district is a standard district within the land use bylaw and commonly used for single detached, semi-detached, and multi-attached dwellings. Okay, so this amendment proposes to redistrict approximately 7.12 hectares in total. A portion of the area will be redistricted from urban reserves to RC district, approximately 2.5 hectares, and a portion will be redistricted from PR, Parks and Recreation, to RC district as well, approximately 0.48 hectares. That's highlighted in the pinkish purplish area there. And then additionally, another portion of the area will be redistricted from urban reserve to the new SSDH district, approximately 3.09 hectares, and that's highlighted in the orange. And additionally, with the SSDH district replacing the DCA 19 district, the existing area designated as DCA 19 will become SSDH. So that's approximately 1.00 hectares there. So before delving into the district, it's important to discuss the reasoning for switching from direct control to special district. So direct controls are used to exercise specific or heightened control over the use or development of a specific area. So you'll want to use a direct control when there are unique conditions or constraints that are that make using a standard district impractical or impossible. As an example, if there was a parcel located in proximity to a specifically vulnerable or to a specific area with sensitivities, such as an environmental area, this is where you would want to be using a direct control district so that you can mitigate those impacts on the surrounding property while controlling what's occurring on that property. A special district is similar to a direct control as you do limit the application of the district to a specific area. In this case, the SSDH district will only apply to a small area of the Sienna community. However, the reason to switch to the special district is because the development area lacks the exceptional circumstances or constraints that would warrant heightened regulations. So therefore, using a special district would be considered more appropriate as it is a tool for accommodating innovative development within a specific area without the additional regulations, red tape, and the implications of a direct control district. So next, I would like to draw your attention to the regulations of the new proposed SSDH district. So this district will be replacing the existing DCA 19 direct control district. The SSDH district is largely the same as the existing DCA 19 with only minor changes. The purpose of the SSDH district remains the same, which is to accommodate street-oriented single detached dwellings on narrow lots with rear lane vehicle access. This is reflected in the uses, which remain the same as well. And those uses are largely limited to single detached housing. So where the SSDH district does differ from the existing DCA 19 is that it reduces the minimum site depth from 34 meters to 33 meters. It reduces the minimum site width from 8.5 meters to 7.9. So this is reducing the building pocket from 20 feet to 18 feet. Additionally, the new SSDH district would reduce the minimum flanking yard setback from 3 meters to 2.3 meters, and it would introduce a new side yard setback specifically for accessory buildings, which reduces the original setback from 1.2 meters to 0.9 meters in order to allow for two car garages on those narrow single detached lots. All other regulations between the districts will remain the same beyond some minor numbering changes, and it will be located within section 6.24 rather than part 11 of the land use bylaw. So next, the attached figure identifying the applicable area will be changed. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. So here we can see there is, we'll add roughly 3.09 hectares of land to the proposed district area, bringing it from roughly 1.00 hectares previously under the DCA 19 to 4.09 hectares in total. All right. So next would be an amendment to the outline plan. An outlines plan goes into the finer details such as the block configurations, road locations, just more detailed than the land use bylaw typically provides. So for reference, I've included the accepted outline plan concept map on the screen, sorry, and the proposed concept map, which highlights the amendment area as well. So the purpose of the application to amend the outline plan is to adjust the overall layout in order to better accommodate the new SSDH district by removing the cul-de-sacs and adjusting the municipal reserve space. I'd like to note that there is no reduction in the municipal reserve being provided, it is only being reorganized. Additional textual amendments to the plan are required and will be brought forward when bylaws C2-2025 comes forward for public hearing and second and third reading as well. So next I want to speak to the conformance to the city's planning documents. So does the purpose of the amendment align with the policies of the Municipal Development Plan and South Fort Area Structure Plan? As mentioned before, the SSDH district is creating a district specifically for narrow single detached housing lots. However, in tandem with the RC district, which allows for the single detached, semi-detached, and multi-attached, it will allow for a mix of housing types, which will meet the broad housing needs of the community by introducing a breadth of housing types and building pockets. By integrating all of these types of dwellings, the proposed redistricting creates a neighborhood that provides housing diversity, market affordability, and accommodates preferences of different lifestyles, which is encouraged by the MDP and the South Fort ASP policies. So based on the details of the proposed district, administration supports the amendment application due to conformance with the policies of the MDP and South Fort ASP. The proposed special district demonstrates and aligns with the MDP policies through overall layout, housing diversity, street-oriented development, and through affordable, inclusive, and housing diversity for all residents. The proposed special district also aligns with the South Fort Area Structure Plan by providing a variety of lot sizes, housing forms, and which provides choice for residents in the community and are compatible with the existing and proposed surrounding development. So, should council give first reading to the bylaw, a public hearing will be advertised in the Fort Saskatchewan Record. Landowners within 100 meters of the proposed redistricting will be mailed a notice. A copy of the proposed bylaw will be available on the city's website, and the amendment to the Sienna Outline Plan will be further discussed and decided upon prior to second and third reading. The target date for the public hearing is March 25th, 2025. And at this time, I would like to answer any questions that council may have for administration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, Scott. Councillor Nguyen, you're first.
Thanks for the presentation, Scott. Given the significant expense that all of the Fort Saskatchewan taxpayers have incurred with the sump pump retrofit program and the rest of Sienna, and knowing the moisture content in this area being similar to the adjacent property, can you remind me what contingencies are in place for sump to storm drain connections, if that's going to be done through developer levy, or what is the plan for that to make sure that those costs are incurred by the developer and home builder and probably the homeowners in this area?
I have Miss Smith do good if you want.
Through your worship, I can weigh in on this one since it's more related to engineering. Originally in Sienna, there was not a requirement to install storm systems in the road network. The engineering design standards have since been changed, so the developer is obligated to install that infrastructure with this phase and any other in Sienna.
Just the stormwater lines, or the house tie-ins as well?
They would be required to stub it to the property line as well, and then the homeowner would connect.
The homeowner or home builder would have to do that. Okay. Well, that's great to know. And then just another short question. Do we know how many occupied dwelling units there are in the, I think it's 100-meter notice area for the public hearing? I've been over there, but I haven't really taken a close look at how it's been built out in the last 6 months.
Through your worship, so I do not know the specific numbers. I can get that for you. However, I would note that the largely the surrounding area is built out. So I don't have the specific numbers, but I can get that for you.
Okay, yeah. If you could maybe get that back to council. Just always curious who's going to be affected by this and then receive the notice. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Blissard.
Hello, thanks for all the information. One of the concerns I would have is the secondary suites on 18-foot wide houses. Do we have any existing right now areas that have 18-foot wide houses and have secondary suites? I could just visualize, again, parking issues, congestion.
Through your worship to Councillor Blizzard, my answer would be no, because we haven't approved 18 feet single detached houses before. We do allow secondary suites, I believe, in RC district, but the houses are 4 feet wider, the narrowest of the houses.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago you had to have a triple wide to even have a secondary suite considered. And would all these houses in this area being single family, would they have minimum 2 parking spots?
Through your worship to Councillor Blizzard again. So this new district, all the houses should be able to accommodate 2 car garages, and our minimum requirement is minimum 2 parking stalls on site. So yes, they all will have minimum 2.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to make a comment. I was driving out there the other day, and I guess there's kind of a question in that, and it looks like that must be almost the last piece of the puzzle in that area, because I took the corner and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe the development out there. So I assume that's the last piece when we go to the east, and I don't know what over there. So that is the last piece?
Yes, through your worship, yes. That is kind of the last chunk of that quarter section there that's kind of filled out. A lot of the development around it has already occurred and been approved previously over the years. So
then after this, we should see more requests going south?
Further south, yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, that looks like all of the questions. What is the wish of council? Councillor Nguyen?
Yeah, I'll move that council give first reading to bylaw C225 to amend the land use bylaw C2320 to amend the DCA 19, direct control Sienna Residential District, and redistricting a portion of Northeast 2054 22 west of the 4th from Urban Reserve District and PR Parks and Recreation District to RC Comprehensively Planned Residential District and SSDH, this is a mouthful, Sienna Single Detached Housing District, and further that a public hearing be scheduled for March 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak to it?
I don't really think I have too much to add here. Obviously, it'll be nice to see Sienna built out, and look forward to the public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. It's open for discussion and debate. Not seeing anything on close?
Nothing on close.
You're good. All right, I'll close the motion for first reading. Please cast your vote. And that is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. I will ask, are there any new notice of motions? Okay, not seeing any. Are there any points of interest? And I will start this one off. Although I'm wearing hot pink today, tomorrow is Pink Shirt Day. So the Boys and Girls Club is asking everyone to paint the town pink tomorrow. So if you've got pink shirts, pants, hats, whatever, you want to put something up in your window in the office, they really appreciate the support of the city when it comes to Pink Shirt Days. So it's always a great day to join the boys and girls and talking about anti-bullying. Anything else on points of interest? We had a really busy weekend with Black History Month. Councillor Abatoye did her book announcement thing. So that was very exciting for her. We had Lord Baden-Powell birthday with the Scouts. The vigil last night happened. So a lot of interesting events happening in the city. Just stay informed and get involved. Councillor inquiries? Not seeing any. Okay, then I will take a motion to go in camera. Councillor Macon,
I'll make the motion that we move in camera for matters covered under FOIP.
all right, thank you very much. I'm going to close the motion. Please cast your vote. And that is carried unanimously. Now we will go into in camera. Thank you.